Hello and welcome to another deep dive.
Hey there.
So today we are wading into waters that, let's be honest, can be terrifying for a lot of people.
I think I know where this is going.
And I'm not just talking about language learners here, though that is kind of the lens we're using today. I'm talking about that specific agonizing moment of social friction.
The Monday morning return.
Yes, the dreaded "how was your break?"
Ooh, sounds so simple, doesn't it?
It sounds so benign, but it's actually like a high-stakes pop quiz. You're standing there, coffee in hand, your brain is still foggy.
And suddenly you have to perform.
Right, and what happens? You either freeze up or you mutter, "It was good."
And the conversation just dies a painful death right there on the spot.
It really does. So today we're unpacking a source from English Dose. It's called How to Talk About Your Winter Vacation in English.
Okay.
Now, full disclosure to everyone listening, on the surface, this looks like a vocabulary lesson. It's got lists of verbs, weather terms, all that stuff. But, and this is why I wanted to dive into it, hidden inside this lesson is actually an incredibly sophisticated framework for storytelling.
That's what jumped out at me too. It's like a 5-step algorithm for social competence.
Exactly.
We usually think of fluency as, knowing all the words. But this source argues that fluency is actually about structure.
It's about organizing your thoughts so the other person isn't working so hard to understand you.
It's managing their cognitive load,
Uh.
right? If you're just rambling, I have to work way harder to follow.
For sure.
And this source breaks it down into 5 clear phases: general info, activities, atmosphere, feelings, and then the climax.
It's basically the structure of every great novel, just condensed into 30 seconds of small talk.
Pretty much.
So let's walk through this, because whether you're learning English or you're just, socially awkward like me, this is a roadmap we could all use.
Okay, so where do we start?
This source calls phase 1 laying the foundation.
Right, the grounding phase. And the text is very, very specific here. It says, before you tell me about the amazing food you ate or the flight delay, you have to answer the big 3.
Where, when, and how long.
Exactly.
It seems so obvious, but people skip this all the time. I've had people start stories with, "So the waiter was really rude."
And you're sitting there thinking, wait, are you in Paris? Are you at the diner down the street? Where was this?
Yeah, you're completely disoriented.
Right. The source explains that without this context, the listener's brain is just scrambling to build a stage for your story. By saying, I went to the mountains for 2 weeks, you're essentially building the set. You're saying, okay, picture this. A mountain scene. Now I'm ready for the action.
And the examples in the source, I love how blunt they are. I spent my winter vacation at home.
Or I went to the mountains.
My winter holiday lasted 2 weeks. There's no fluff at all.
And that's the simple rule the source really emphasizes. Short, clear sentences. I think there's this misconception, especially for language learners or, anyone trying to impress someone.
That complexity equals intelligence.
Yes. If I use a long, winding sentence with 3 subclauses, I'll sound so smart.
Constructing a narrative pertaining to my recent departure.
Right. But in reality, that just sounds anxious. The source argues that confidence sounds like clarity. I went to the mountains, boom.
It creates authority. It says, I know exactly what my story is.
And it anchors the listener immediately. Once I know you were in the mountains, my brain just pulls up the whole mountain schema. I'm already expecting snow, maybe skiing. We're on the same page before you've even really started.
Okay, so once we've established the where and the when, the source moves us into phase 2, the action.
This is about what you actually did.
Right. Now that we know you were in the mountains for 2 weeks, what happened?
The source calls this talking about your activities.
And it provides what I'm kind of calling a verb toolkit.
A toolkit, I like that.
Yeah, it lists the specific high-utility verbs. Traveled, visited, relaxed, spent time, watched, played, celebrated.
What stands out to you about that list?
They're very active, but they're also broad. They cover a lot of ground. But looking closely, they seem really carefully chosen to avoid that.
The police report problem.
The police report problems.
That's
Yeah.
the whole strategy. The source actually advises you don't need every single detail. You're not reading from a log of your movements.
You just need to curate the main activities.
Curate is the perfect word. And the examples in the text are things like, I traveled with my family, or I spent time with my friends.
Notice the structure there.
It's not just the verb. It's verb plus company. Traveled with family, spent time with friends. It adds a layer of, sociology to the action.
That's a great point. It tells us not just what you did, but who you are socially. And then there's this one example that just speaks to my soul. I watched movies and relaxed at home.
That's so important because doing nothing is still an activity in this framework.
It validates relaxation as a narrative point.
Totally. In a lot of cultures, there's this pressure to be productive even on vacation. I climbed 6 peaks. I wrote a novel.
Right. But this source is saying, no, I relaxed, is a perfectly valid plot point.
It frames passivity as an active choice. You didn't just end up on the couch. You chose to relax.
That makes you the protagonist of your own rest.
The protagonist of your own rest. I like that.
But again, look at the structure. Subject plus verb plus context. It just keeps the momentum moving forward.
It does, and it prevents that rambling we talked about earlier. By sticking to these core verbs, visited, celebrated, relaxed, you're just hitting the headlines of your trip, not the fine print.
Okay, so we have the foundation, the set is built, we have the action, the actors are moving. But a story needs a vibe, a mood.
Ah, yes. This brings us to phase 3, painting the picture.
This is where we get into the atmosphere. The source explicitly suggests using seasonal words to sound more natural.
And the vocab list is very evocative. It's things like cold weather, snow, rainy days, warm clothes.
Holiday, atmosphere, New Year, Christmas.
And just think about what those words do to a listener's brain. They transform a list of verbs into an actual scene.
Right. If I say I stayed home, that's just a fact. It's binary. Home or not home.
But if you say it was a rainy day, so I stayed home, suddenly there's a mood.
It creates a visual. The source has this great example. The weather was cold, so I wore warm clothes and stayed inside most of the time.
See, that sentence is doing a lot of structural work. It uses that little connector word. So
it establishes causality. The weather was cold, so I wore warm clothes?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It explains why the vacation looked the way it did. It connects the environment to your behavior.
Which is crucial because it helps the listener make sense of your choices.
Right. Without the atmosphere, the actions can feel totally random. Why'd you stay inside? Were you sick? Were you hiding from someone?
No, it was just cold.
And a term like holiday atmosphere is so powerful because it conveys a feeling without needing a whole paragraph of description.
It's efficient. It's compression.
You trigger a shared experience with just 2 words. Your listener's brain does the work for you.
That's smart storytelling, which leads us perfectly into phase 4. We've got the set design, we've got the action, we've got the mood, but we're missing the character's internal monologue.
The emotional layer.
Yes.
This is, in my opinion, the most critical step for moving from just a basic speaker to a fluent speaker. The source says you have to add feelings and opinions.
And the phrase from the text is, feelings make your story more interesting. I mean, that's so true. I don't just want to know you went to the beach. I want to know if you liked it.
Exactly. Facts are dry. Opinions are sticky. They stick in your memory.
So what are some of the expressions it gives?
Things like, I enjoyed my vacation, it was relaxing, or my favorite, it was fun but short.
Oh, I relate to, it was fun but short.
Don't we all? But look at the nuance there. Or, I wish it was longer. That one phrase expresses regret, enjoyment, and a sense of time, all in 5 words.
It invites empathy.
It does. And there's this example. I really enjoyed my winter vacation because I had time to rest. It connects the feeling back to the activity. It closes the loop.
So it tells the listener why those activities mattered.
Right. But there's a deeper psychological point here, too. It's about theory of mind.
Oh, break that down for us.
Well, we often just assume other people know how we felt about a trip. We assume if we say, I went to Hawaii, the listener automatically thinks, happy.
But maybe you hated it. Maybe it was super stressful.
Exactly. So explicitly stating it was relaxing clarifies your stance. It eliminates all the guesswork for the listener.
It bridges the empathy gap.
Precisely. If I just list facts, you're watching me from a distance. If I tell you how I felt, you're right there with me.
Okay, so we've built this beautiful arc. We know where you were, what you did, what it looked like, and how it felt. Now we face the final boss level of conversation.
How do we stop talking?
Yes.
Exit strategy.
Phase 5, the climax and resolution. The source calls this talk about special moments or plans. This is brilliant because it provides a natural full stop.
Right. You can't just stop after it was relaxing. It
Right.
feels incomplete.
It feels like you ran out of battery or like you're waiting for them to applaud.
Right. So the force suggests mentioning a highlight or maybe a future plan.
The examples are, my favorite moment was celebrating New Year with my family, or I took many photos.
That phrase, my favorite moment was,
Right.
is a signal. It's a cue to the listener. It says, I am summarizing now. I'm wrapping up.
It prepares them to take the floor.
And then there's the forward-looking one. Next winter, I want to travel.
That's a classic resolution, isn't it? It takes the narrative from the past and points it toward the future.
It's a very sophisticated way to end a turn in a conversation. It prevents that awkward silence where both people are just staring at each other.
Waiting for the other one to speak.
Exactly. It hands the baton back to the other person so nicely. Next winter, I want to travel. What about you? It opens the door.
It creates reciprocity. You've shared your story. Now you pivot to theirs.
And that is the definition of a good conversation. It's a tennis match. You had to hit the ball back over the net.
So that's the 5-step framework. But the source doesn't just leave us with the what, it actually gives us a little bit of the how in its outro.
The meta lesson on practice habits. I loved this part.
Me too. It suggests practicing speaking about your holiday out loud, even if you're alone.
Even if you are alone. That's the key phrase. Most people think they can only practice conversation. Well, in a conversation.
But the source argues you need to rehearse the script solo first.
It's like an actor learning their lines, right?
Yeah.
You don't wait until opening night to figure out what you're going to say.
Exactly. It's about motor learning. Speaking is a physical act. You have to train your tongue, your jaw, your breath control.
And if you only try to find the words when you're staring at your boss, the cognitive load is just too high. You'll freeze.
You're trying to compose the script and perform it at the same time.
Which is a disaster. The text makes this really bold claim. 1 minute a day makes a big difference.
That's the compound effect. We talk about this in so many deep dives. Small, consistent effort beats one giant cram session.
And it validates the whole idea of micro-learning. You don't need an hour. You just need 1 minute to recite your 5-step story while you're making coffee.
That builds the muscle memory. So when someone actually asks, "How was your break?"
The neural pathways are already paved. You're ready to go.
it transforms anxiety into reflex.
And that's what we want. We want the structure to be automatic so you can focus on the connection with the other person.
So let's just quickly recap this flow just to lock it in for everybody.
Good idea.
Step 1, basics. Where, when, how long. Ground the listener.
Step 2, activities. Use your verb toolkit. Keep it curated. No police reports.
Step 3, atmosphere. Paint the picture with weather and seasonal words. Explain the why behind your actions.
Step 4, feelings. Make it human. Did you enjoy it? Was it relaxing? Bridge that empathy gap.
And step 5, highlights and plans. Stick the landing with a favorite moment or a look ahead and hand the conversation back.
It's such a clean structure. And the source really emphasizes this is a great way to practice the past tense.
Which is notoriously tricky for learners.
It is, because narratives are almost always in the past tense. So mastering this vacation story is really a Trojan horse for mastering the past tense in general.
I love that. A Trojan horse for grammar. You think you're just chatting, but you're actually drilling irregular verbs.
Effectively, yeah.
You know, as we're looking at this whole thing, which, again, is from English Dose and designed for learners, I'm just struck by how useful this is for native speakers.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
Because how often do you ask someone, "How was your weekend?" And they give you a 5-minute monologue with no structure.
Or worse, they just grunt, "It was fine," and then look at their phone.
Right, which feels so dismissive.
You know, this raises an interesting, I guess, a provocative thought to leave our listeners with.
Oh?
We usually think of these language learning frameworks as like training wheels, something you use until you're good enough to take them off.
Sure, like eventually you just flow.
But what if this 5-step structure isn't training wheels? What if it's actually the perfect algorithm for effective social interaction, regardless of your fluency level?
Oh, that's interesting.
Think about it. Social friction, awkwardness, boredom, confusion. It often happens because we skip one of these steps. We skip the general info so the listener's confused.
Or we skip the feelings so the listener's bored.
Exactly. Maybe we should all be mentally checking these 5 boxes every time we answer a casual question.
It's almost like a checklist for respect. I respect you enough to package my information clearly.
That's it. It just makes you a better conversational partner. And in a world where everyone is so distracted, being a clear, engaging storyteller is a superpower.
That is a really powerful takeaway. We're all learners in the art of conversation, aren't we?
We certainly are.
Well, on that note, we're going to wrap up this deep dive. Next time someone asks you about your break, try the 5 steps.
And try practicing it alone first. Give yourself that 1 minute.
Absolutely. Huge thanks to English Dose for the source material. It is a gem.
Thanks for listening.
We'll see you in the next one. Take care.